Well, first of all, your response to the attacks that have been happening on Jewish people in America.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's immoral. It's stupid. It's counterproductive. I loathe it. So I'm for peace. I'm against
You
violence.
didn't waste 5
Violence
minutes
is
to write
intellectual
about it on
surrender.
Twitter or to speak about
Okay.
it. You didn't waste
I
a
actually
minute to
did,
speak about
so-
it out of your own volition. No, you didn't. You
Can I
haven't.
talk?
I've checked before coming
This
online.
genocidal freak
No, but
has
I've
talked
checked,
for
and I
half an
think you're
hour straight.
dishonest.
And Piers, do you see how every
think
time
you're
I go to talk,
dishonest.
the Israeli propagandists talk over me on
Yeah,
your
Jonathan,
show?
you must
They
let
do
him
it
respond
literally
now.
every
I think
time.
you're being
They
dishonest.
speak for 30
Jonathan, I
minutes,
gave you a
and then
long
when I
chance
go to
to
speak,
speak.
they talk over me.
In this video, Cenk Uygur completely obliterates this pro-Israel mouthpiece in this brutal debate. What starts as a discussion on anti-Semitism in America just quickly unravels into this full-blown confrontation, not just about rhetoric, but about the reality of what's happening in Gaza. Cenk doesn't even push back. He drags the Israeli government narrative into the light, laying out the brutal civilian death toll, the destroyed hospitals, and the undeniable trail of war crimes. Meanwhile, the so-called expert opposite to him just keeps interrupting, deflecting, and throwing out moral superiority around like it's a shield. And look, even Piers Morgan, who usually leans into right-wing talking points, ends up stepping in just to stop the nonsense. That's just how bad it gets. Cenk stays laser focused on truth, on numbers, and on exposing the double standard in how Israel's actions are covered in Western media. So make sure to watch till the end to see how Cenk Uygur completely obliterates this pro-Israel mouthpiece in this brutal debate.
Let Cenk speak, because I gave
I
Jonathan...
just think you're being dishonest.
Jonathan, I gave you a
because
long
if it was
chance
a
to
real
say your
mouthpiece,
piece.
you
shut
cared.
up, John.
Let
Jesus
Cenk
Christ,
respond, please. Cenk.
No, I'm not going to take shut up from you.
Okay,
I think
you're
you're being
so
dishonest,
ironic.
and you sit on high horses and lecture
Okay, here
others,
we go. Do
then
you
you
see,
should
John,
be truthful.
you see this, Piers?
You haven't.
This is
you
Israeli
haven't condemned these
propaganda.
attacks.
I'll remain calm, but understand that every time I go to talk, the Israeli propagandists that you bring
This
on
is an Israeli
continue to talk
telling you
over
that
me. You
Jonathan,
see the
let him
strategy?
speak, please.
They've
You
now
haven't
done it
condemned
every
terror
single
attacks.
time.
Jonathan,
so unless you get this
let you
Israeli
speak. So
propagandist
Cenk-
to stop talking.
Let Cenk speak, because he let you speak, Jonathan. Cenk.
Okay, so he's obviously trying to defend the terrorism of Israel. They have killed over 20,000 children. So are they the most incompetent military in the world? Oh, golly gee, we missed 20,000 times. Or are they doing it on purpose?
Or is Hamas hiding behind
Do you remember in the
civilians?
beginning of the conflict? So here we go. Here we go. Okay, so do you remember in the beginning of the conflict when they pretended to be outraged that there was an accusation that Israel had hit a hospital? And they're like, how could you say this? Israel would never do such a thing. They have now destroyed 20 out of the 22 hospitals in Gaza. Totally leveled them.
You remember
Why?
the incident?
Because they want to make life unlivable in Gaza. Because they are terrorists. That is part of the reason why that I abhor violence. I hated what happened on October 7th. He makes it sound like October 6th was perfectly lovely. No, October 6th is when Israel continued to have a 57-year brutal occupation of the Palestinians, demeaning and basically enslaving the Palestinians for 58 years now. When are you going to let them go? You have 5.5 million hostages, those Palestinians under the thumb of despotic Israeli rule. So now Smotrich says, look, we were happy starving them to death, and that's what I would like to have done, but it's bad optics for us. So we have to bring them to the brink of starvation so that the West will continue to let us do what we're doing, which is the genocide and ethnic cleansing of Gaza. These are indisputable facts.
So this is the point where the whole thing just basically implodes. And honestly, Jonathan's behavior here is just unbearable. Cenk's trying to respond with actual facts, like over 20,000 children taken out, the complete destruction of Gaza's hospitals, and the long-term military occupation. And Jonathan just keeps interrupting. Over and over, it's not even a debate at this point. It's just straight up bulldozing. And credit to Cenk here because he stays calm while calling it out live. He says it flat out. Every single time he speaks, the Israeli propagandist just cuts him off. And he's not wrong. This happens non-stop in this debate, and it's part of the playbook. Flood the conversation with interruptions, never let uncomfortable facts land, and then pretend you're the victim when you're called out. But what really hits the hardest here is when Cenk breaks down the logic. Either the IDF is the most incompetent military on the planet, missing 20,000 times, or they're targeting civilians on purpose. And when he brings up Smotrich, who literally said starving Palestinians was a strategic move, that's not exaggeration. That's straight from Israeli cabinet members. This is the stuff most hosts won't let guests say out loud, but Cenk lays it out plainly. And Jonathan, he's got nothing but talking over Cenk.
Now, when you include women,
No, they're
they've
not.
killed over
You're talking
30,000
nonsense. You're
innocent
making statements
women
that are
and
false.
children. A stadium full of dead bodies brought to you by the IDF. The IDF is murdering those people every day. By the way, they've killed 12 Americans. And both the Biden administration and the Trump administration goes, Americans. A 14-year-old boy who grew up in New Jersey was just murdered by the IDF in the West Bank. And both Trump and Biden go, as long as the money's coming in from AIPAC, I'll let you murder any American you like. I'll let you murder any Palestinian you like. And let's be honest. Hey, brother, Jonathan, why don't you tell me? Here, I'll let you talk now and give your BS Israeli propaganda. As you claim that the worldwide media and the U.S. media are too harsh on Israel, they've given Israel a pass on everything. If they held Israel to the same standard as Hamas, right now, the whole world and the whole media would do nothing but condemn Israel. They have killed over 400 times the number of children that Hamas has killed. The IDF is the biggest terrorist in the world right now. So tell me, are you going to take Gaza and prove me right that this was always a genocidal attack on Palestinians to steal their land? Or are you going to withdraw from Gaza and go to a two-state solution? I want a safe and peaceful Israel. I want a safe and peaceful and independent Palestine.
Somehow I doubt that. Somehow I doubt that you want to see a peaceful and safe Israel.
Do you plan to steal Gaza? Answer the question. Do you want to steal Gaza, or are you going to give Gaza back to the Palestinians?
Somehow I doubt that you want
he
to
says that
see
he's
a
not going to
peaceful
give
and
it back to the
safe
Palestinians.
Israel of Jews living in their ancestral homeland where they have 3,500 years of documented archaeological history. I doubt that this is your real motivation because, as I said, I think you are untruthful. If you would have cared about the lives of Americans, you would have condemned the terror attack on a Christian American who happened to be working at the Israeli embassy, and you would have said that these Palestinian terrorists or Palestinian-induced terrorists are horrible and despicable and harmful and all of the other window dressing words that you use now, but you would have done it out of your own vocation. And you didn't because you don't believe in it.
I did.
And because you, sir, are
Actually, he has condemned it.
You're full of it.
I don't know whether you've been reading Cenk's...
Look on X right now.
I don't know whether you've checked his X feed, but Jonathan, he has condemned all of these attacks. I've seen it. Cenk has condemned them all. That's simply not true.
I've actually checked before I came online and I haven't
Look at X
seen it.
right now.
Well, you didn't check long enough.
You asked about Gaza. Yeah. You asked about Gaza. What I think will happen in Gaza, and I'll tell you now, we're in June 2025. I think that for the coming months, maybe a year or two, my assessment is, based on military logic, is that the IDF will indeed conquer and hold the Gaza Strip. As, no surprise here, is what happens usually at the end of main combat operations in any war. The winning side, which, despite what you and many other people want, will be Israel. Israel will defeat Hamas, and Israel will take and hold over that piece of terrain, and for a transition period, which I, as an Israeli, hope will be as short and as benign as possible. Yes, a transition period, just like the Allied powers did in Nazi Germany after the Second World War, and just like many other winning militaries have done at the end of main combat operations, there is always a transition period.
Alright, so this is where Jonathan just fully exposes what this war is really about. And Cenk just absolutely drills them for it. Like when Cenk asks, point blank, are you going to give Gaza back or are you going to steal it? And Jonathan's response is basically yes, we're taking it, but dressed up in historical buzzwords and empty transition period language. He even compares it to post-Nazi Germany, as if that somehow justifies a modern military occupation of millions of people. That's not self-defense, that's colonization with PR flair. And Cenk meanwhile is just spitting pure truth here. The numbers don't lie. Over 30,000 women and children got taken out, stadiums full of bodies, and dozens of Americans killed. It's not just a policy feature, it's moral rot. And he nails it when he says if Israel were judged by the same standard as Hamas, they'd be condemned non-stop. Instead, they get this bizarre free pass because they've got the right allies and the right lobbyists. And let's be real, that's why Jonathan keeps dodging the question. Even Piers has to step in and fact-check Jonathan, again, for lying about whether Cenk condemned terror attacks. That's twice now in this debate that Piers had to stop the pro-Israel guy from spreading falsehoods just to score points. So it's not just aggressive interruption anymore. It's a mix of gaslighting and goalpost shifting every time Cenk speaks.
At the end of that transition period, I hope
they're going
for there to be independent, yes, I hope for there to be independent Palestinian governance that isn't Hamas and that isn't the PA that supports and funds terrorists and give them stipends, but other type of Palestinian government that says, our goal in life is to care about Palestinian children. Our goal in life is the future and the future prospects of us as a people and the region. That is what I hope that this war will bring about. I fear that it will take many months and probably years until we see the early signs of that happening. But I hope, and I'm pretty confident we will not see any Israeli. No, because I'm truthful, and I want to.
You're going to keep it forever.
As well.
You're transition for years and years and years.
Not at all.
And your standard is until they love all Israelis, we will enslave them and take their land.
Not at all.
That's the Israeli answer at all times.
The only ones that had genocidal attacks.
You just said it. You're going to take Gaza. You just said it. You're going to take Gaza, and you're going to keep it for years and years. You just said it.
Yes,
you just said it. Your whole point was always offensive war to take Gaza and slaughter the Palestinians so you can take more land. How much land are we going to let Israel take with our money? With our money. Hey, Jonathan, why don't you give us the $300 billion back? Give me the $300 billion back. I don't want to fund genocide. I'm an American taxpayer. Give me the goddamn money back.
You're not funding anything. If you're doing anything, you're not funding genocide.
Yes, I am. I'm unfortunately funding the genocide that your sick brothers and sisters are carrying out in Gaza.
And you are facilitating terror attacks against Jews. That's the only thing that you could be held accountable
for.
But I don't
you're
think that
literally murdering Palestinians and cheering it on as we speak. You love violence. You absolutely love violence.
Not
you
at
believe
all.
in violence.
Not at all.
And by the way, you're the person who causes attacks like Boulder, Colorado.
All right, let me ask you a question. All right, time out.
I keep advocating against violence.
Time out.
And by the end of all this, Jonathan just drops the whole transition mask and basically says what Cenk's been accusing him of all along. That Israel's just going to keep Gaza indefinitely. All that talk about hope for future governance is just filler to cover the fact that the occupation is permanent unless Palestinians magically become who Israel wants them to be. And when Cenk calls that out, Jonathan just loses it, again, and flips it into "you're funding terror." It's the same deflection he's been using the entire debate. And when Cenk fires back that he's an American taxpayer funding this genocide whether he wants to or not, that's the part people feel. It's not just an overseas conflict, it's our money, our government, and our silence that keeps enabling this. And watching Jonathan try to paint that outrage as anti-Semitism, it's just beyond insulting. It's just cowardly at this point. Even Piers tries to call a timeout because this whole thing goes off the rails. And honestly, it's because the Israeli side just couldn't handle being cornered with basic accountability. Jonathan honestly can't stop talking, spewing out his nonsense biased takes on this whole situation without interrupting Cenk for a second. And speaking of bias,
are you getting tired of getting news from biased news sources? One outlet says one thing and another says the complete opposite? How are you supposed to know what's actually true? That's where ground news comes in. It lets you compare how different media outlets, whether it's left, right, or center, are covering the same story. So you can see the full picture instead of just the echo chamber. And here's the best part. Click the link in the description and get a 40% off the Vantage tier, which gives you even deeper insights in media bias and political trends. So stay informed, think for yourself, and check out ground news in the description down below.